Hello, and welcome to another episode of What Tapes Have I Been Listening to the Past Month. It turns out that it is a better month than I thought it would be in terms. I think I said something like it's just going to be boring from here on out or something, but actually, there's some real kind of grails here. This isn't really one of them, but it is a really interesting Beatles interview cassette. It like a few interviews. I think one was with John and the other was with Paul. The John one is from '68, and he's just like bouncing out the walls, and it's really interesting. I wish I'd paid better attention to it, but I'd never heard that interview before. But it's kind of on the same level as the music of the time. He's probably on some psychedelics, I would imagine. So we start with I think some Indian classical music, but let's just go right to the Brainiac here. This is a grail right away. This is Brainiac's first cassette. So I was very thrilled to get this one. I've been wanting to get it for a very long time. I was able to acquire that in this month. Let's see. Jungle. Was I thought I was maybe going to say something about this Jungle one. It's nice. Nice and... Honestly, I don't remember actually. It was good. That's all I remember about it. Got the Circle Jerks live in LA from 1984. Let's see. I'm going to say a lot. Colonial Cousins was okay. An odd name for a soundtrack. Again, I thought I might have something more to say about it, but I don't. So this Coverdale page was actually pretty good, really. It's what Page ended up doing with Coverdale, and it kind of, I think, led to some of the Led Zeppelin reunion stuff. But it was I thought it didn't play at first, and then I played it, and it played fine. So that's great. All right, CSN. I don't know what version this is, but it played fine. Oh, Shakti was a really excellent Bollywood soundtrack. And here's the new Deerhoof. And it's of the same quality as most other Deerhoofs. Freddy's Nightmares. Believe it is just going to be filed under Freddy's Nightmares because though there are composers for the cues, they didn't really list who they were, so I think there might be multiple composers from the movies and some such things. The Screens was very good. It was a Philip Glass with this other guy, who I don't really know, but it was very much in the focus of the other guy, I would say. There's some Philip Glass elements going on, but they might be more structural than, you don't get the arpeggios so much. It's not like, you might think it's Philip Glass, so it's just going to be all arpeggios, but really, it wasn't. It was a lot of whatever instrument that guy's playing, which is a sort of Indian type music instrument. Yeah, and then let's see. Some of these things, I think maybe what I wanted to say about some of these. Nope, not this one. Actually, that's just an old Bollywood. Well, I liked Kamoshi the musical quite a bit. In fact, there's a certain song that I really liked. What was it called? Well, good luck. I don't know. And I don't remember what it was. Oh, well. I thought I knew it. But I don't. I think, it's the last song on side A, I believe. And I looked up and there's a video for it of a couple at a wedding. But it's just a sort of a nice song. A lot of these Bollywood songs just sound like Western, really catchy Western songs. There's not really much difference. So I listened to, the reason why I got 3 of them listened to is because I had 3 to listen to. Oh, can you hear that? That's my computer. It's been a freaking lousy month with my computer. I can't wait to deal with that issue. I'm really kind of stressed out actually about my computer situation, and it's really taken away from my movie, being able to work on a movie at all the last month. And before then, there were other issues, and so I've had a really disappointingly unproductive month. I'm glad it's like worked out for me to listen to music, because it's been bad on a number of other fronts. Anyway, I listened to 3 of these. The way I do it is I listen to one kind of at a full or loud volume, at least full volume. Well, full doesn't mean all the way. It just means full sounding, I guess. And then the other 2 I'm allowed then to listen to at a quieter volume. Although this one I had to listen to a little louder because the track order was different. So those are kind of my personal rules for listening to things. And then, of course, I got to read all the liner notes. I mean, I've got a lot of liner notes to read. This I had listened to, but then I realized that the tape was, that the liner was different or something, and so I don't remember how that all worked out. Actually, definitely listened to it, I believe. Yeah, I must have. Yes, no, it was a Bollywood soundtrack, but then it ended up being that the liner. Yeah, that's right. The liner was not what I thought it was, so I just filed this away, and maybe I'll get a liner for it someday, but they tend to be a lot different. Anyway, let's get to this. This is a grail, the other big grail of the month here. I'm so tired of that sound of the computer. Oh man, I hope my new computer is nice, because I want to strangle this computer. And oh, okay, so I'm back, and yes, I didn't want to be distracted by that. This is Kraftwerk 1, the Spanish version. The tape is from 1979. The album is from 1970. It's famously, along with the second one, been disavowed by Kraftwerk. But it's very interesting along the lines of, say, you know, like I would say Neu really kind of picked up where this like left off. I believe the people from Neu were left after this album or something. I don't remember. Maybe it was before. Some bigger Kraftwerk people know. Anyhow, I've got Kraftwerk 2 already, so now I've got the Spanish versions of both of those. I think there are some French versions. I don't know if they have a German version. I don't really know. I know about that. But whatever. It was a grail for me, and I can know now that I've got both of those, and that's like kind of important, because for a long time I just had Kraftwerk 2. All right, so Border, Anna Malik, this one, and then this one are ones that I listened to before. I listened to 2 copies of Ahsoka. Anna Malik is great. I've talked about Anna Malik before. Oh yeah, the final Metallica ones. Actually, these shows bring us up to where, like 3 days or something before Cliff Burton died on the bus. So, and it's interesting because like there's this bass solo and everything, and throughout a lot of these shows, so they really were, you know, featuring him. I don't think Lars had a drum solo. I think the guitarist had a guitar solo, but they always featured the bass. And then, you know, he was killed. So, and then Raja Hindustani is another Bollywood. Oh, Pardes was also very good, obviously. I listened to it a number of times. I didn't really have to, but that was so enjoyable. Yeah, it's just like, I don't really, it's interesting. I don't really have much to say about these Bollywood soundtracks other than that I liked them. Dosti I listened to twice. And that's pretty much how I feel like this is going to go from now on with these videos. There's just not very much to say. Other than I thought they were good. Joan Osbourne, early recordings, okay. Pere Ubu Cloudland, I got that because Dave Thomas died, the founder of Wendy's. And Pink Floyd and Queen, unreleased live album. You know what? You would think this is Pink Floyd with Queen, because that's what it looks like, but no, it's like Pink Floyd on one side and Queen on the other. It's a 501 label. Portishead, well, you know, I've said this, I think, before about Portishead, that maybe I haven't. Like Dummy, and my favorite is probably the, I don't know, the one they came out with in, I think, 03, that's like, I'm probably never going to find that on tape, but I think it might have been released by somebody. That one is like definitely like a can, like a krautrock influenced album. That's my favorite. I I'm kind of torn about whether I really like the vocals in Portishead. I know I'm supposed to. I'm sorry, but I find it to be a little bit melodramatic at times. So it sounds like she's going to collapse into a puddle the whole time. So it's okay. Like I mean, if I'm like thinking about it a certain way, I do like it. So it's all good. Chocolate was another really good Bollywood thing. This is the um, Taiwan or Indonesian version of Amnesiac, not Aphrodisiac. I almost called it Aphrodisiac. And then we get to Tall. Now, I love the soundtrack to this called Tall. And so, if this is the one I'm thinking of, and I believe it is, it's like an excellent Bollywood soundtrack, really good by Rothman. Especially the first song on side B here. And so, like, because it's got instead of having like a cymbal or a hi-hat as the beat, it's got like as a sort of the pulse, it's got a clanging bell as like the pulse. But it sounds just great. And so I thought, man, it's so good that the movie must be really good because this is from a movie. You can see the people here. And I thought, maybe it was this one. Maybe it was Pardes. Well, I could be getting it confused, but I believe it's Tall. I thought this movie is going to be so good. Oh, yeah, it must be. And so I looked it up on the internet and and I found the whole movie. I started watching it, and it was a terrible movie. Just a terrible movie. And it was so bad is good kind of movie where the effects are bad, the acting is bad. And they just keep going into English the whole time. It's not really about anything. They're sort of driving a car and all this stuff happens with the car, but it's ridiculous, but it's supposed to be taken seriously. So it's basically a B grade campy, one of those movies. And I get the sense that a lot of Indian music is like that, but the music is so much different than the visual, than the movie that it comes from. Kind of can't believe it. I just thought it would be a good movie. Yeah, this is the other version. I listened to 3 of them. I enjoyed all of them. Yes. What else? Rhodes. I listened to some Elliott Rhodes. Elliott Rhodes is basically what like if Paul McCartney had just soldiered on but had been in his prime or remained in his prime after the Beatles, he might have sounded like Elliott Rhodes, which is great. So these are the kind of Paul McCartney's albums we could have had or should have had at that time. The Rockafire Explosion. Now this is a new release from what you call them, TerrorVision tapes, the same that did Freddy's Nightmares and a few of the other Freddy Krueger things and a few other unsolved mysteries they put out. Right. So like me and my friend went to the Volo Museum this summer. Something I wanted to do. I think it was my idea because I wanted to see this group because I had not seen them since I was a kid. When I was a kid, basically I'd go, mom would take me and my brother to Showbiz Pizza. We would have a bunch of quarters and then we would, I'd drink cherry Pepsi and play Super Pac-Man. And so I have a kind of like a very distinct nostalgia for that time and playing those games and then crying when when mom wanted to go because she'd been sitting there eating pizza, totally bored, and watched the show like 4 times or 5 times or so, and just had enough. But she didn't play video games, so it's just too bad. I wish she had. Maybe I think she might have some arthritis or something, but I don't know. I find it too bad when people can't get into something; they're just totally doing it for somebody else or whatever. Anyways, yeah, because me and Patrick were playing video games, then I think she told me to embarrass me that I was way too old to be crying like I was, which I'm sure was true. But my whole thing, and I wasn't very good at speaking, was that I had some tokens that I knew wouldn't be. I wanted to just finish the games that I had in my hand, and I couldn't. But I remember okay, the Rockafire explosion was really awesome, and so at the Vola Museum they had them in a garage. It's like one of the very last places you can still find them. They're, the puppets or whatever, the animatronics, it still works. It's from the 80s, and they still have their show. And a garage door comes up at the Vola Museum if you pay to get in, and you've got your day pass, and you can watch them. So we watched them a few times, me and my friend Jake. And so it was kind of everything. I almost got emotional watching it, just because it's from my childhood. Anyway, Rollins, everything. This is the pretentious Rollins that we don't like. No offense, Rollins, but he's actually okay, even if he's being serious. But I think we like him better as a comedian. We meaning everybody should. Get Some and Go Again was a pretty decent Rollins Band album for Rollins Band's albums, which also can be a little too serious at times. Sounds like he's having more fun on that album. Run to Cadence with the U.S. Marines was. It's like, I don't know what I've been told. At least that's what I thought it was. I don't know what I've been told. I was pointed out by my friend in the 90s that it's I don't know, but I've been told. I thought it was very funny that I got it that wrong. But to me, it's like they're being self-depreciating because that's what they're always doing. I thought that they were supposed to tell everybody who's listening that I don't know what I've been told. That's what I thought would be. But it's I don't know, but I've been told. I don't know, but I've been told. I mean, it's fine. There's a lot of interesting, things that they say. I'm pretty much glad. I don't think I could have made it as a Marine at all. So, but they kept sending us stuff. Marines, I'm interested. Marines, I am not interested. And I kind of wish we'd have the courage to just tell them I'm not interested. That would have been better. But obviously we're scared of them. Set and Setting was a pretty great modern guitar album, mostly I think entirely instrumentals. But it's very nice to listen to. It sounds great. Okay, and then we get up to the final grail in this set. I've had Brainiac, I've had Kraftwerk, and now I've got Mort Garson here with Signs of the Zodiac, Sagittarius. This is a tape made in '69, but when we get to the part called Numbers, Gems, and Colors, you hear a sound that sounds just like the Blade Runner soundtrack, which means, and I'm pretty sure it is a Moog. He got into Moog synthesizers in '69, and I'm amazed that you could have had something that sounded like the Blade Runner soundtrack with that much power back in that time, because you hear it. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I believe the new Blade Runner soundtrack has the same Moog sound, which I thought was pronounced Moog, but I think it's Moog. Who's this? Okay. Yeah, this was another modern one. Very nice. Slayer Live. Very nice. Here's, I guess, another grail. Although, I had heard this a very, very long time ago. This is the U.S. version of Elliott Smith. I've got the Indonesian version and the Japanese version of this. The Japanese version that's pretty far out that I've got that. This is the American DreamWorks, but it's already 2000. They're not making a lot of tapes, so this one's a little rare. Now, Tanya Morgan is a rap group, and they're all right. Now, what they claim, they're out of Brooklyn, New York. What they claim is that they just sort of stumbled upon the name Tanya Morgan, and they couldn't think of a better name for their rap group than Tanya Morgan. I find that to be kind of unconvincing, to be honest. Now, this album was good. It was good rap, and it was good instrumentals. On the other side, it was very much like kind of in the vein of DJ Shadow or somebody like that. But now Tanya Morgan is a real person as far as I'm concerned, because I kind of knew of them in the co-op scene. She was always this rave girl babe that would have about, 5 guys following her. They're she seriously came into a party and there were her and 5 guys at the party, and then she kind of left with all the time. But I guess they're all friends. I guess they're not all dating her, but it was kind of like a wild sort of person. And then she moved to New York, Brooklyn, and was doing like, I don't know, breakdancing and stuff. So I just kind of find it, perhaps it's just a name plucked out of air, but perhaps they're named after Tanya Morgan. I don't know. Oh, Truman's Waters. Now, I don't know if this is a grail, but it's certainly something that I wanted because it is the final, other than one, the final Union poll, the final early Truman's Waters put on tape that I know of. No Dead Air, No Dead Space, and it lived up to No Dead Space, whatever. It lived up to being a Truman's Water, album. So I thought it was great. And what else do we got? I'm almost done. Some Bollywood mixes here on Unsane Total Destruction, which is like a very heavy, it's like kind of, to me, sounds like a cross between, I don't know, Sonic Youth and Helmet. They're a brutally loud band. They kind of carry on like as if the Swans were still pounding away and they never got Jarbo. But actually, they're more like Helmet, really. And then finally, and this is not exactly a grail either, because I'll just talk about this, Young Fresh Bellows. It was all right. I only got it because of the They Might Be Giants lyrics. But it was all right. But this thing here we go. Roger Waters. I kind of stumbled upon this too. And this is the Pink Floyd album Dark Side of the Moon as sort of reimagined by Roger Waters. And the liner notes basically try to make the case, at least he does, that, hey, I'm not a jerk. And I'm 80 years old and I don't hate like the members of Pink Floyd and we made a great album together and etc. He said some other things that seem to contradict that, but I'm going along with it, I guess. And he, he's old. He'll say stuff and he doesn't care as much about it anymore, about stuff in life. And as far as this album is concerned, he wrote a lot of stuff. I mean, I knew the album Obscure by Clouds, and you start off with Free 4 by Obscure by Clouds, and it's obviously those lyrics have come to mean a lot more to him than they did. The lyrics, the liner notes they talk about all that quite a bit. And as far as the rest of the album, well, it's a bunch of, it is what it says it is. So it doesn't have, it's kind of slowed down, and Roger Waters' voice is kind of like about 3 octaves lower than it used to be. But it might be the last Roger Waters album, so I figured I'll get it. And I don't know. I think I like that sort of old people like him are still trying to do things. And it doesn't really matter what they're doing, really. But that being said, this was a good album, an engaging album, and a kind of reflection upon where he is in his life. I believe, and I guess like what his daughter said, I think, was that it was as though his older self, who's made this album, and his younger self, who made Dark Side of the Moon, were looking at each other across the years. So anyway, that's this month. Again, I've really kind of outdid myself again, but I hope not to next month because I hope to save a little more money. I hope to get my computer up and running and start working on my movie again, and then have a kind of more boring episode next month. And until then.